welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Maria Brink, the frontwoman of In This Moment. I've been a fan of the band for quite a long time, and ever since I started listening to them, I noticed that she had really amazing stage costumes. Usually when I start these videos, I like to first examine the person's connection to the fashion industry. However, I can't find all that much about her except for one article from 2011 where she talks about the fashion that she brings with her on tour. I will, however, talk about that a little bit later on in the video. So with that, let's get started with the music videos. The first music video that we're going to discuss is for Beautiful Tragedy from 2007. When we first see her in this video, she's wearing this really big black poofy ball gown. It kind of reminds me of something that Alexander McQueen might have designed. The skirt is super full and round, just tons and tons and layers of tulle, and it's really interesting that she's wearing it in this setting because they look to be almost in like a burnt down forest area. And then in other scenes, she's wearing a white dress that kind of looks like a bridal gown. With it, she has on some long white gloves, big curly hair, and some sort of Marie Antoinette type makeup. In this scene, I first noticed that it looks like this dress has a crinoline holding it up. And what that is essentially a cage that you wear underneath your dress that's like a skeleton in the shape of a dress that holds your skirts up so that it stays nice and poofy and round, and then your legs are just kind of like there underneath with lots of space around them. Different types of crinoline were used throughout history depending on the popular skirt shape of the time. Some of them were more big in the back and then narrow around the legs, and then some of them were nice and big and round and full like the one that she's wearing here. It's definitely interesting to me that she would have something like this because it shows how dedicated she is to wearing these gowns. The next music video that we're going to take a look at is for the song Forever from 2008. In this, she's wearing a white baby doll dress, very reminiscent of something that Courtney Love might have worn in the 90s. Courtney Love was, of course, the singer of Hole and the wife of Kurt Cobain. She was really well known for wearing these little baby doll dresses that were short, fitted around the waist, sort of with a little A-line skirt and then some puffy sleeves. She sort of made it her iconic look throughout all of the 1990s. Maria's dress in this video, of course, is very similar to that with the puff sleeves, a little bit more fitted bodice, and then her skirt has many tiers or like layers of ruffles with a little bit of lace trim around the bottom. It is a cute little dress and kind of an interesting look for somebody who's the front person of a metal band to be wearing. It's a little bit unexpected. The next video that we'll talk about is for The Gun Show from 2010. In this one, she's wearing a couple of different outfits, but the first one that we'll talk about is her more like southern sort of cowboy style outfit. Here she's got on a plaid top that is super shortly cropped with a blue denim skirt with a brown belt, and then of course a little cowboy hat on top. And this is totally like reminiscent of like a Daisy Duke outfit from the Dukes of Hazzard. It definitely makes sense with the theming of the video. You can tell that this is sort of set in the desert. It's supposed to be sort of like a American South cowboy type theme going on. She's walking around with like a shotgun and a bunch of other girls that have on cowboy hats. The outfit totally makes sense. Then in the other scenes in this video, she's wearing another baby doll dress, except this time it has some really interesting detailing going on. The whole entire thing is like a shiny silver, and it also has a puffy skirt. The sleeves are very big and bold and puffy and sort of just like really strong shoulders, and they have chains hanging off of them all around the sleeve hem. It took me a while to figure out what exactly was hanging off of her sleeves, whether it was actually chains or not, because I was thinking that if they were metal chains, that it may be too heavy to have the sleeves stay that puffy, and there might have had to have been some sort of intense architecture going on inside of the sleeve so that it wouldn't get weighed down. That, or they're very realistic looking plastic chains that aren't nearly as heavy. Either way though, with that amount of trim, there definitely has to be something going on inside those shoulders to be holding them up like that. Now let's talk about one more video from 2010. This one is for The Promise. In this video, she's wearing a blue ball gown that has several white petticoats underneath. At this point, when I saw this outfit, I started to realize that Maria really has an affinity towards historical dress. A lot of the stuff that she wears is vintage or vintage inspired, and things that you just really wouldn't see in everyday outfits or even costumes for that matter. Petticoats used to be used for the same purpose that a crinoline was, and that is to hold up and make the skirt look fuller. Here she has it so that when she lifts the dress up, you can see all the petticoats underneath. Some of them, I believe, have like some ruffles along them. And then she's paired this dress with a red belt, white gloves, and a ton of pearl necklaces around her neck. Moving on now to the music video for Blood in 2012. Now this to me sort of signifies a change in Maria's style. She no longer wears ball gowns or even really baby doll dresses, but instead moves into this new era where she starts to wear bodysuits. One of my favorite outfits in this video is this one with the studded conductor hat. First of all, that's an amazing statement piece, and then she's paired it with a leather or vinyl sort of like dress with, once again, really big, sharp, bold shoulders. Another outfit that I really want to talk about from this video is this one that she's wearing in all the throne scenes. Here she's wearing a coat or a dress, I can't really tell which, that has a damask print on it, something that you oftentimes might see in wallpaper or furniture nowadays, and it has fur trim all around the neck and the sleeves. This she's paired, of course, with a crown and some jewels around her neck. And now this again shows that she has some interest in historical fashion, because this is something that royals would have worn from the Middle Ages all the way through the Renaissance. fur and jewels and all of these things signal your status and your wealth and your importance in society. And that of course makes sense because in all of these scenes, she's sitting on her throne and she sort of has all these girls around her, almost like these loyal subjects. The next video that I want to talk about is for Adrenalize from 2013. And this is a video where she has a ton of different outfits on. The first outfit that I want to talk about is this nurse outfit that she's wearing in the very opening scene. And now this is basically like her spin on a traditional old-fashioned nurse's outfit. She's got on, of course, the hat that's very similar to the ones that they used to wear, and then she's wearing at the base a nurse's dress. And this to me kind of looks like maybe like a Halloween costume that you would get, where it's kind of like really short and tight and kind of like a sexy nurse outfit. But then over top of that, she has all these latex accents. There's a big thick waistband with a little apron sticking out of it, and then some 3/4 length sleeves with once again big pointy shoulders. And then on her legs, at first I thought she was wearing bike shorts that were sticking out from under her skirt, but actually it's not. What it is almost like leg tubes, almost like imagine like thigh-high socks, but you cut them off at the knee and you just take the thigh part and put it on, and then that's clipped up to a garter belt. What a garter belt is an accessory that sits around your waist and it has long straps that come down with clips on the end that clip to the stockings that are on your legs. The reason it was invented in the first place was because before the advent of spandex, tights for women were not stretchy. They were literally just a somewhat close-fitting leg sleeve that would super easily fall down if they weren't held up by those clips. Maria plays with garter belts and clips and things like that a lot in her outfits. And it once again shows me that she's interested in historical dress and things like vintage lingerie. Lastly, to finish out this outfit, she's wearing these cute little round toe pumps that have a single strap across the ankle. Sort of like a high-heeled Mary Jane shoe. And that of course just goes along with the whole vintage nurse vibe. Then in some other scenes, she has on the same bodysuit that she was likely wearing in the last video for Blood. Here you can actually see the full thing though, and what you see is the shoulders, of course, 3/4 length sleeves, and then it's actually a bodysuit with a relatively high hip cut on the bottom and a zipper down the center front. I really love that she started to wear these bodysuits as her stage clothes because I think they're really bold and eye-catching. The next video that I want to talk about is for the song Whore from 2013. As a total side note, Chris Motionless is in this video and he of course is looking fly as always. But moving on to Maria, she has on her sort of like classic nowadays whore outfit. Basically it's her interesting little take on kind of like a naughty schoolgirl outfit. What she's wearing is a really short plaid skirt, almost like excessively short, paired with a white dress shirt with a white waist corset over top. Then of course she has on some knee-high white socks with little sock suspenders and some Mary Jane dress shoes. This of course is a nod to like a classic school uniform, and she's paired it all with a dunce cap on her head. A dunce cap is a cone-shaped hat that was formerly used as a punishment for students in school that were seen as slow or not smart. It's really interesting to me how she took that sort of random accessory that today is kind of seen to be obscure and repurposed it into this outfit. It's not something that you see every day, and honestly not something that many people probably even know the meaning of anymore. Moving forward again to 2014, we're going to talk about the music video for Sick Like Me. And now these are some of her most elaborate outfits yet. The first outfit that I really want to talk about is this nude one with all the black straps, because this is a very elaborate outfit. There's so many layers going on in this, and it would take her probably a very long time to get it on or off. What I can see is that there's probably sort of like a nude base of a bodysuit, and then she has a harness over her top, sort of like around her torso, around her bust, going up around her back, and then that comes down almost like straps on a garter would, but those come down and meet more straps that then wrap around her thigh. However, under that, there's another layer where she has on a really thick garter belt that also has straps and clips that come down, and those clip to her stockings. Along with all of those layers, she's topped off this outfit with red gloves and black thigh-high boots. This all in all is a really interesting outfit to me. I really like it, and it really once again shows how fond she is of vintage lingerie. Next up in this video, my absolute favorite outfit is this one with the black floppy hat. Once again, it has high, dramatic, big shoulders, this time with some sort of lace and sequin detailing going on. And that's on basically like a long robe type thing with a red waist corset underneath. She's also got on these super tight, long latex gloves that have these little spikes. They're like pointers on the end that resemble like long nails. It really gives me the vibes of like Lady Gaga in American Horror Story. If you remember, she always had those sort of like finger claw things on. And so I really like that. It really reminds me of that. Next music video up is Big Bad Wolf from 2014. I kind of had to stare at it for a long time to figure out what exactly was going on, but I think I've essentially figured it out. It's once again a bodysuit, and this time they've done this technique that you can do with t-shirts where you cut horizontal slits all the way down, starting from her neckline, going down really far. And then you have these horizontal strips that you sort of weave together in a specific way to create this effect that almost looks like ribs or something on like a skeleton. It's really neat. And so that is done down the center front of her bodysuit, up on these little triangle parts, sort of coming up onto her hips, and then of course all down the back as well. Then the sleeves have some even more intense stuff going on, where either what I just said or a slightly different technique was used, going from the shoulder all the way down to the wrist, and then crazy long strips of fabric were attached as well to that sleeve. And now I can tell you from personal experience that long fringe or long strips of anything is a nightmare to work with. Just absolutely terrible. They tangle, they get mixed up, they just get into knots by accident. It's absolute chaos. So kudos to whoever made this bodysuit for her, or even if she did it herself. This is something that genuinely would take hours upon hours of work. And not easy work either, really delicate, detail-oriented, like something you have to be very patient to execute work. The way that she dances and moves around in this video, it makes the fringe look absolutely beautiful. And I think that this outfit is just perfect for the video. You know, she's kind of locked up in like a jail cell, she's rolling around on the floor, getting all dirty. It's a great look. The next video up is for Black Wedding featuring Rob Halford from 2018. Now in this, of course, relatively literal, she's wearing a black wedding dress. And the first couple scenes that you see her from behind and she's walking forwards, and you see the most amazing train on this dress. A train is sort of what you see on wedding dresses or fancy gowns, where the fabric is so long that it doesn't just hit the floor, it extends past it and trails behind you as you're walking. And now this train is partially see-through, and it's probably made of like an organza or a chiffon, and then it has some trim all around the edges. It's actually just like exceptionally beautiful. Then of course she has on this headpiece that's really big and round and circular with little spikes coming up all around it, almost like little rays. And it's interesting because it reminds me of how they would oftentimes depict the Virgin Mary in art, where she would have this big round circle around her head, oftentimes with little rays coming off of it. And it's neat because once again, you have this sort of like religious imagery being incorporated into an outfit that she's put her own twist on. All right, moving on now to the final music video from this year for The In-Between. Now, in one of the scenes, her and her dancers are wearing this red sort of robe thing where it's got like a massive thick collar around the neck, a really deep plunge, almost like really far down to the belly button, and then just sort of like a loose fit all around. Something really neat about these outfits is that they actually underneath, sort of on the belly button waist area, have a black triangular patch that has the In This Moment logo on it. So that's really neat. It's like they're starting to brand their own costumes in these videos. Then of course another thing we have to talk about in this video is this crazy long, like almost ghost costume tunic thing that her and her background dancers also have on. And clearly they're standing on some sort of like platform or stilts or something like that to make this effect of like a super tall, long, ghosty figure. And this is cool because this is something that like each person of course had to be individually measured, standing on their platform from their heads all the way down to the ground, and that had to be made in that precise sort of measurement so that it wouldn't be dragging on the ground too much and it wouldn't be floating up above, revealing whatever it is that they're standing on. And it's just something that like, it really makes you appreciate how creative you can get with fabric and with making things. It's just such a cool idea and something that you really don't see every day. She also uses this exact costume when she's on stage as well. I've seen it in some live videos and it looks really neat. She looks like 10 feet tall and it just sort of billows around in the wind, and then it makes for a very dramatic reveal when it's sort of dropped off. So now after looking at all of these music videos from 2007 all the way up to today, I could say that you can kind of split her personal style up into phases or periods, where at first she was wearing a lot of baby doll dresses, sort of inspired by Courtney Love. Then from there she moved on to some ball gowns, some really dramatic full skirts. Then she went into more bodysuits and fitted pieces, and now she tends to be wearing these sort of long robes or like tunics. I love examining style and how individual style can change over time. And clearly she adjusts her own personal style along with her creative endeavors. You know, she grows, her music grows, she starts to direct these different music videos, and she starts to just incorporate imagery and different looks that suit what it is she's trying to accomplish and what she's trying to communicate to her audience. Now, before we wrap up this video, of course, we have to talk about a few more notable outfits. The first one is for this live performance video of Blood. In it, she's wearing a super long bodycon dress. Bodycon basically just meaning it's a stretchy dress that's very fitted to your body the whole way down. And hers has this really interesting, shiny, almost like iridescent red fish scale pattern. And that's really interesting because there was a little while back this whole craze. One of the brands that I can remember specifically doing it is Black Milk, where they were selling these leggings that had the same sort of mermaid scale print on them and just in all different colors. And I remember I first saw them there at that brand's website that I had mentioned, and then it just sort of blew up and they were everywhere. It was like a little craze for a little while. But here she's got that pattern, except in a really long dress, long sleeves, and then over top of that she has on a black cardigan harness that comes up around her neck to a collar with a little white cross on it. And then she has on this really interesting headpiece that actually covers her eyes. And I can't tell how well she can see out of it, to be honest, because I think there is just lace over that part, so she probably can see through it, but not 100% well. Then the last thing she's paired this whole outfit with is, of course, some more gloves with super long little fingernail guys on the end. I absolutely love these. Every time she's dancing, she's using her hands a lot. She's really like making gestures, making very big dramatic movements with her hands, and those little spikes on the end, they just are perfect for that. They look amazing. Maria Brink is really interesting in that she sort of has specific costumes for specific songs. So oftentimes I notice from watching through their live videos that she'll be wearing the same outfit that she wore in the music video for a song as she does when performing that song on stage. So she definitely does outfit changes throughout their set. I love that she has this vision in her head of what needs to go with what and what outfit will help communicate that song better and make the performance better. And I love that every single little detail of that has been thought about. Another aspect to think about in regard to her stage costumes is that she has to launder these while on the road. And in that article that I had mentioned at the very beginning of this video from 2011, she talked about how she would bring a giant trunk of like 100 dresses with her on tour because it was so difficult for her after she wore the dress to be able to clean it. Many of these garments have to be hand washed or they have to be dry cleaned. And when you're on the road and you're on the go and you're just driving to different cities constantly, it's very difficult to be able to launder these garments. So nowadays I'm thinking she must have multiples or duplicates of these outfits, or even like a person or a little team assigned to just taking care of her costumes and laundering them and making sure that they're fresh and ready to go and, you know, repaired if anything happens to them. It's definitely cool and an aspect that I can appreciate, knowing as much as I know about clothes, just how much effort and how much she has to go through to be able to have all of these different costumes with her all the time. The next outfit I want to talk about is from this Loudwire video that she did with Lizzie Hale and Ash Costello. Here I feel like you get sort of a really good little glimpse as to how she might dress in her everyday life. Here she's wearing sort of like a very dramatic, loose-fitting like robe or dress that's like a cream color with some floral and then a nice little straw hat. I love that she's not just wearing all black all the time and that she's not just wearing typical expected, you know, leather jacket and skinny jeans. And this outfit's very cool to me. It really reminds me of Stevie Nicks in the 1970s, somebody who I know that she admires because she's talked about it in interviews before, and someone who I admire a lot as well. It's sort of that like hippie boho style, you know? It really suits her with the long blonde hair, and I really kind of wish that I could get more glimpses of what she wears in her everyday life, but I think this is probably a really good example. And alright you guys, I think that's where I'm gonna end today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this deep dive into Maria Brink. I really have been a fan of her for a long time, and I have a ton of fun just diving into her outfits. She's so creative. She's such an artist. She's such a unique individual. She directs a lot of their music videos nowadays, so you can even see more of her creative vision like coming through. And I'm also excited to see where her personal style goes in the future. Obviously, like I had broken down before, she kind of went through different phases, or at least that's what I could see throughout her career, where she's just sort of changed what she liked to wear. And right now we're leaving off in this period where she's sort of wearing a lot of like long, dramatic, loose robes and tunics and things like that. And so I'm really excited to see what's next for her. If you enjoyed, please let me know in the comments below, and also let me know who else you would like to see a fashion breakdown on. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.